You have a Trump ally by the name of Matt Braynard, who says that they're going back to the Capitol. He appeared on Steve Bannon's podcast last week where he said, quote, "As we continue to raise the profiles of these individuals," talking about the people who were arrested in the Capitol riot, "it makes it harder and harder for the left's phony narrative about an insurrection to stick. We're going to push back on the phony narrative that there was an insurrection." And they have scheduled a Justice for J6 rally in D.C. for September 18th. September 18th is the date that he gave on Steve Bannon's podcast. Now, he says that he has gone through, he's gotten this whole thing approved according to what he said during this interview. This is a planned rally that is going to take place. He also says he totally has lawmakers signed up that are gonna, come and speak at this little event. Of course, he won't tell us who they are yet. But, if I had to make a guess as to the kind of people that would speak at this, perhaps a Mo Brooks, a Jim Jordan, Matt Gaetz, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, those kind of seem like the folks that would be drawn to an event like this. Of course, time will tell. He, again, has not released their names. He says they will once they're totally confirmed to the event. But folks, we now have a date. We have a date of when they're going back to Washington, D.C., September 18th. That's the day that they've planned. And this is supposed to be just a big rally to raise awareness about the conditions of the people who were arrested. But here's the other part of this story, folks. We have seen both Matt Gaetz and Marjorie Taylor Greene, and I believe Jim Jordan was with them as well, make a spectacle of themselves, as they always do, trying to go into the jail where some of these January 6th defendants are being held. Now, they didn't have pre-clearance. They didn't have an appointment. They showed up with a film crew knowing they were going to be shoved away, because you can't just do that. And then they tried to use that as some kind of justification that, obviously the conditions these people are being held in are so terrifying they won't let us in. There is no evidence at all to suggest that any of these individuals are being treated inhumanely or unfairly while they're waiting in prison. Okay? No evidence exists to suggest any of that. So let's get that very clear right now. The people pushing that are the ones who, I guess, have a vested interest in getting people to think that bad things are happening to these individuals. Because, I don't know, maybe they get to have more people show up at their rally if they think that these people are being held in inhumane conditions, or if that they're somehow being treated unfairly. But again, don't get sucked into those lies, because there is no evidence to suggest that any of this is actually happening. It is a political talking point. It is a political stunt. It is pure theater. So don't buy into it. But what we do obviously have to be concerned about is last time we had a gaggle of these folks show up in Washington, D.C., it ended in the January 6th Capitol riot. Now, you can call it a riot if you want. You can call it an insurrection. You can call it a failed coup. Call it whatever you want. Terminology we can quibble over all day long, and it's a pointless conversation. The fact of the matter is, these people showed up there on January 6th, broke into the Capitol, smashed windows, broke down doors, multiple people on both sides, the police officers and the individuals who stormed the Capitol, dead from this. We don't need another show like that. We don't need something like this to happen again. So I hope the authorities are taking this seriously, not to go down there and bust them up. If they've got permits for it, hold your rally. It's going to be filled with lies, and I hope nobody walks out of there actually thinking anything you're saying is true. But if you've done the due diligence, if you filed the paperwork, you have a right to assemble, and nobody should infringe upon that. We just got to make sure that D.C. is protected and that these individuals don't once again fall victim to the lies of charlatans who know what they're saying is false. Oh, and by the way, always happen to disappear before things get too rowdy. So they can say, I wasn't even there for that. I was just there for the rally. Yeah, they throw you folks under the bus. Remember that if you travel to D.C. for that September 18th Justice for J6 rally.